are you feeling today? Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready. What if I told you that the reason men don't approach you is because you're truly unapproachable? But what if I also told you that doesn't have to be the case if you focus in on making some very important key adjustments? If you want to learn what those adjustments are, then join me on today's show where we'll be discussing 5 signs you're an unapproachable woman. That way you can have the men desperate to crawl on glass and get in fist fights just to be the first one to sniff your seat. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here a presence that I know you're here present and actively participating. How are all you beautiful, beautiful people doing here today? So good to have you part of the show. So good to spend this time with you. Who we got up in the TikTok chat? I see we got Renali. Okay. Under Chastity's here, Go Plants. Oh, by the way, thank you so much, Go Plants. I didn't realize how much you donated last time. You donated a whole lot in the TikTok chat, so very appreciative of you, and I appreciate all of your participation. Thank you. Who is here? Mimi, I see in the TikTok chat. We got Yo-Yo here, Aaron here, Gabriella here, Tiffany here, Norris is here, Mariza is here. Welcome, all you beautiful people. Of course, we have our moderators, Scotty, Sharice, and SH here. Who we got over in the YouTube chat? I see we got Destiny here, Mary Kim here, Nicole Cotton, one of our amazing channel members, LP Baby, always participating. We got Brooklyn here, Sylvia here. Is that Halo or Hilo? Halo? Okay. We got Cece, one of our amazing channel members, is here. I seen Tracy Niles, one of our amazing channel members earlier. And of course, we have Missy America holding down our YouTube chat. Let's get this party started today. I spelled unapproachable right. I hope I spelled unapproachable right. Chat, if I didn't, it's your fault, okay? It's your fault. All right, let's go on to our first point in this here. Now, some of this is going to be a little bit of a good realization for you because remember, we're in your feminine era here. We're trying to help you enter that. No more of you going up to men and you being the one who's approaching men. We're trying to get them to approach you. But it's very important that we set you up for success here. And some of the ways that you'll be unsuccessful, well, you'll get the understanding of how that works here, okay? So let's start off with what we can describe as RBF. Now, I'm just curious, because I'm Canadian/American. How many of you know what RBF even is? Tell me in the chat, do you know what RBF stands for? I know some of you probably won't, but I'm just curious, how many of you already know what I'm about to start discussing when I say RBF? Does anyone know what RBF stands for in the chat? I want to see how many people actually know this terminology. Okay, for those of you who may be unaware, RBF stands for resting, and then the B word, like the word we use for female dogs, right? Resting B word face, okay? Now, what does that terminology mean and why does it matter and how does it affect what we're talking about today? See, you can make this grave mistake of having a naturally existing RBF. And this can actually determine and drastically change how many men will be willing to approach you or not. So let me kind of break this down for you. When you go out, see, let's kind of put you in a man's shoes and how they're perceiving and thinking about information. Remember, we always talk about energy, aura, and body language. Men are always scouting what the feeling is internally of the different women around because it's going to help them determine something very important that I'll show you. So when a woman is happy, right, in her look and in her face and in her body language, let's just keep it on the face for now, right? If she's happy, this usually means, let's go from it from the man's perspective, she's in a good mood, right? She would like to talk, at least be open, right? Right? And we're also assuming as men, she's probably a good time and wants to have fun. So when we're thinking about men and we're thinking about their desire to actually act on the fact that they think you're attractive, right? This is very important. And you might underestimate, if you're not actually thinking about this when you go out, how important this is to your approachability. Because if men are looking at your face as one of the key indicators of whether or not they think you're even going to be open to the idea of of you having a conversation with them and flirting and going back and forth and hopefully they get your number, then you can't underestimate how important it is for you to be aware and self-aware of how you're coming across, especially how your face is coming across, right? Someone said, what's RBF? You may have missed it at the beginning. RBF stands for resting B-word face, okay? I'm not gonna write the B word here, but you get my gist, right? So if we're talking about how a really happy-go-lucky face will communicate certain things to men, let's also draw, in the opposite sense, how a very, we're making you look like a monster here, a very angry version of yourself will make men feel, right? This is someone with an RBF, or I'll even title it here, right? This is RBF, okay? Now, simultaneously, the same way one would make a man assume she's in a good mood, she would like to talk, and she's, wants to have a fun time, I would assume she doesn't want to talk, right? That she is not having fun. And overall, I would assume her personality, if she's looking like this, is she is absolutely not a good time, okay? And you might be thinking, well, Tomisin, why does this really matter? It's just my face. Guys should know that, it's just my natural thing and I'm not actually upset. But the thing about it is guys don't know that. And you have to understand when we're talking about the approach, guys are always calculating in their mind. I know this sounds very, like mathematical, but guys are making subtle calculations in their mind of their success rate when approaching a woman. Right? When they see certain types of women dressed certain types of way with a certain type of demeanor, they're calculating in their mind, okay, I know what my level of value is. I know what I can offer a woman and what I can't. I'm also factoring in what she looks like, which we're going to get to all of this stuff later as well. And I'm also factoring in what does she look like she's ready to or open to right now at this current moment. Does she have an RBF going on? If that's the case, then the likelihood in which I'll be successful in approaching her is low. And so if we're thinking of men and the fact that they have a desire to have a high success rate if they're going to actually put forth effort in approaching you, and they're thinking to themselves, hey, your RBF probably means you don't want to have a good time and you're not willing to talk, then they're automatically going to assume that their success rate in approaching you is going to be low and they're going to avoid approaching you, okay? So on the opposite sense, obviously, when you have that good energy and guys can sense that and feel that even from far away, they're also assuming my success rate in terms of approaching you will be high, which means you're going to have more men approaching you. That doesn't even necessarily mean that every man that approaches you, you're actually going to be interested in. What I'm saying, though, is you're going to be sending out signals that you're more approachable, right? So in this sense, you don't want to be having an RBF. Now, how do you determine if you're someone who has an RBF? If you get comments from friends, whether it be girlfriends or just guys in general, that are constantly always asking you whenever you go out somewhere, are you mad? Are you okay? Are you upset? Tell me in the chat if you're one of those people. Tell me in the chat, yes or no. Do you get those comments when you go out somewhere, whether it be to a club, a bar, an event, or whatever, where you're constantly getting asked by people, are you upset? Are you mad? Are you feeling good? Are you okay? Right? If that's the case and your answer is yes, that probably means you have a natural RBF. That when people are observing you and the way that you look, they're assuming something might be wrong or you're unhappy, which is why they're asking you that question on a consistent basis, right? If you're getting that a lot, that means that you're portraying something that you may or may not be aware of, okay? So I'm not saying this to make fun of you. I'm saying this so you can become more self-aware of your RBF, right? And the struggle that you have in having an RBF and also what that's communicating to other people. Because sometimes when you go out and, you're in your own mind thinking about what you want and thinking about, who you want and who you find attractive, you're not thinking about how all of the information that you're giving off is being received by other people. right? So very important to understand RBF can definitely work against you and have men discouraged to approach you, okay? Let's hop into our second point. Wow, we already started off doing a lot of writing there. Okay. So we got down your RBF. Let's try and work on that to make sure you don't have so much RBF going on. Now, for point number 2, right? This is going to kind of suck to hear, but it's good to realize because it'll help you learn something. So something might be happening to you on a regular basis. And, I kind of want all of you to participate here if this has ever happened to you, or if it happens to you on a consistent basis, because it'll help you realize something special. Oh, I drew her eyes pretty far apart. It's okay. All right. So 2 girls here. One is you and one is your friend. I love you and I care about you. We don't care about your girlfriend. So we ain't going to draw her as beautiful as we draw you, right? We're going to draw you real nice. Your friend, she only got that stick bod, okay? No legs, real boxy looking. You got that hourglass fig. Yeah, that hourglass. Damn, that looks weird. That hourglass figure with that big old booty. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Damn, that looks weird. Anyways, this is you, okay? Hourglass, that's you right there. And this is your friend, okay? All right, so I want you to see something and I want you to notice something though. There can be a situation that happens with you on a regular basis that I want you to take note of. See, let's imagine that in this scenario, both of you are, we'll even put up here, let me see, let's put it in here. You're equally attractive, okay? Just because I want to preference this and not make you feel like there's something else going on. Both of you are equally physically attractive. You got a little bit more of a dump truck, but overall, you guys are both equally physically attractive, right? Guys would be interested in both of you based on your looks. But here's the thing that I want you to take notice of if this is happening to you. If you find that on a regular basis, that when men are making a decision, we're just going to draw a stick figure man here. When men are making a decision about who they want to choose, whether they want to go in this direction here and talk to your friend or talk to you, if you start to notice that all of the men are flocking towards your friend here, and they're always approaching your friend, right? And always trying to talk to your friend, despite the fact that both of you are essentially equally as attractive, then you have to understand that something is going on here, which I'll explain to you, right? If this is the case, where anytime you hang out with a friend who's equally as attractive to you, you constantly find that men always generally approach your other friend instead of approaching you, then that means not only in your maybe existing RBF, but also in your body language that you're giving off, you don't seem to want to be there, or you don't seem to care to be there. Now, this is another thing that I want you to take into account because I want you to become a little bit more self-aware of it. Remember, I told you, similar to RBF, when it comes to the face, men are always analyzing, hey, what's my success rate going to be if I approach that woman? And it's the same thing with your body language. Your body language can also convey to men if what their level of success rate will be if they approach you. So what do I mean specifically by body language? Do I want you to stand a certain way? Do I want you to stick your ass out? No. What I want you to do, and I want you to make sure you're doing if you're going out, is I want you to be self-aware of how you're coming across in terms of how much you seem to even be enjoying your time there. Now, I know that this might make you feel a little bit fake and a little bit fugazi, but the reality of it is if you're standing at a party or an event and you're just standing like this, looking like you're super annoyed to be there, and you're not even having a lick of fun, it's going to be very discouraging to men and their desire to actually approach you. Because like I said before, they're looking for an opportunity from the sense of they want to make sure that if they are going to approach you, they're actually going to be successful in that. And if a woman is communicating through her face and then also through her body language that she doesn't even want to be here right now, what am I going to think as a man? My success rate is going to be in approaching her close to zero. Whether I'm attractive, whether I have money, whether I'm tall, whether I'm handsome, none of that's going to matter if that woman doesn't even want to be approached. And sometimes you might not realize that you're giving off this energy, right? So let's wipe the smile off your face. Sometimes you might not realize that you're giving off all this energy that I don't want to be here. The let's leave energy. This is so boring energy. I'm having a horrible time energy. It's not just something that can be on your face. It's something that can be in your body language. You're not dancing. You're just standing around, looking super bored, looking very uninterested, right? You don't seem to be smiling. You're not even having conversation with your friends. And I know this can start to feel like, well, Tomisin, I'm basically faking it because I actually am bored. I actually am uninterested. This actually isn't any fun. Well, if that's the case, then we need to get you into a different environment that you'll actually enjoy yourself, okay? Because solving the actual problem, if you are truly uninterested and you're truly very bored and you're truly having this body language because that's really how you feel, is not about faking it. It's about finding a different environment in which you can actually enjoy yourself. That way, when you're portraying that body language, it makes you more open and makes you more approachable. It's the same reason why I advise you anytime you guys ask me, what should I do and where should I go to meet more men? I always start off with going somewhere that you actually enjoy. Because you going somewhere that you actually enjoy will make you have more fun, which will turn you into someone that's way more approachable, okay? So very, very important. If you're noticing this trend, and tell me in the chat, how many of you have noticed that trend before, where you go out with a friend that's equally as attractive as you, but all the time it seems that the guys approach your friend instead of approaching you. Tell me if you've ever noticed that, or if you're this friend that always gets approached. It could be the other way around as well, right? It's very important to understand that and take that into account because that's not happening for no reason, right? It's not an accident here. Let's hop into our point number 3, okay? Yeah, point number 3, okay. Damn, you had a big booty in that one, huge. You must have been going to the gym. All right. So for point number 3 here, let's talk about something that I won't lie, I do this as well. Okay, so let's not. You know, I'm not perfect, right? But we'll talk about this. Oops, that's what I wrote. Yeah, I did. This is gonna sound like a weird terminology here, but I promise you, it means something. Okay, so you might not realize this. I'm going to draw this out here. This one, we're going to do a quick one for you. And I'll draw the man here. Okay. See, you might not realize this, but the phone can actually get in the way of everything you're trying to do here. Oh, and it makes me very mad because you can easily fall into this trap, and I fall into this trap as well. You can come off very unapproachable if you become an awkward scroller. Now, what does an awkward scroller really mean, right? You know, when you go out to a club or a bar or a whatever, and you know, you're kind of standing around, you're with friends, and you know, your friends are talking and having fun, and maybe, you know, some of these friends, you know, are a little bit more acquaintances for you, and you don't really know them as much, and your actual close friend is off doing something and talking to other people, and you're just kind of like standing there, just kind of like going through your phone, just kind of scrolling, you know, seeing what's going on, you know, seeing what's up, and just you know, scrolling through Instagram again, scrolling through TikTok, even though you can't see the videos or hear the sound, like, and this is the problem though. See, as you have this phone, right, you might think to yourself, oh, I'm just casually just here, just chilling out, just hanging out. But you don't realize you're actually creating a barrier between you and anyone who is looking to approach you. Because now, you see, remember how we talked about the other friend? How you can become the other friend that you can become the friend that no one's approaching, even though you have the same level of attractiveness as your other friend. You can also begin to put a barrier between you, because think about this as well. You might not realize it, but when you hop into the spot, Guys are scouting to see who the most attractive women are. They're also scouting what their success rate will be with those attractive women. You might not even realize that men, at the time you walk in, are scouting you to see when they're going to plan their approach. And when you pick up that phone and you look very uninterested, they might decide to themselves, she's not really digging this vibe. I probably won't be very successful approaching her because she doesn't even seem like she's having a good time. Meanwhile, the only reason you're on the phone is because you're an awkward scroller. It makes it look like you want your attention to be elsewhere. Like being here is not the most important thing to you. Like you're trying to escape. I know that that might not be the actual reason you're on the phone, but I just want to help you understand how men are receiving that when they're thinking about who they want to approach and who they don't want to approach, okay? Right? Someone says the success rate with me must be 10% then, maybe. And so this is very important to understand, right? Don't let the phone become a barrier between you and men that want to approach you. I know, and I'm telling you this as someone who struggles with this myself. Sometimes when I go out and I'm bored, I'll just start scrolling instead of participating in conversation because I just don't feel like doing the work, okay? But I promise you, you as a woman, you will always, especially if you're in your stage where you're trying to meet new people and get men to approach you, you will benefit from doing what's painful and keeping the phone away, keeping it on do not disturb, not looking at it, not scrolling through it, even if you feel awkward, even if you're just kind of standing there, even if the conversation's a little bit stale and a little bit quiet, you will benefit from forcing yourself, yes, I said forcing yourself, to participate, to be active in conversation, and to start being a part of what's going on here. I promise you, the men who are taking notice of you will notice that, and you will get approached more by men than if you were to give in to what you want to do and just stand there and scroll through your phone. You will look so disinterested that men will be discouraged from approaching you. So if you find yourself constantly in this position where whenever you feel a little bit awkward, you immediately reach for that phone to start pulling it out and start scrolling through nothing, I advise you to come up with a strategy that doesn't allow you to do that. So for some of you, the strategy might be, and it's going to sound a little bit weird, but the strategy might just be going in and saying, you know what, I'm going to put my phone on do not disturb and make sure no notifications can come through unless it's an emergency call from my mother or something like that. And for some of you, it might just be like, oh, I'm going to turn my data off. So I don't even have the option to scroll through TikTok, scroll through Instagram, scroll through whatever, right? Because it's not that many people who are going to be texting you anyways. And so whatever it is that you might have to strategize, the other thing could be not having your phone in your hand, right? Don't make that mistake, because if you wear an outfit, right? It's a nice mini skirt, no pockets. Your shirt is obviously super tight, no pockets, nowhere to store your phone, and you're not carrying around you should be carrying around a purse, but let's say your purse is really mini, can't fit your phone, and now you're carrying it in your hand. All of a sudden, you make it so much easier to access your phone, and you make it so much easier for the phone to become a pacifier because you're always having it in your hand all the time, right? Find a comfortable place that you can put your phone. I know I'm getting to the nitty-gritty. Find a comfortable place you can put your phone so that it can be away from you. That when you're present in the place that you're going, you can be present in that place. Once again, like we talked about with the other friend, if you find yourself on your phone because you're like, Tomisin, well, I actually find this place uninteresting. Or you're like, Tomisin, I actually kind of think this is a boring spot. Or I'm on my phone because this really is an awkward place to be. Well, then we need to start getting you in places that you don't find super awkward to spend your time in. We need to start getting you in positions and in situations, having fun with people that you actually have fun with, not places where you're constantly bored or uninterested. Okay. Someone says leave it in the car. I wouldn't advise you to leave it in the car for safety reasons. You know, you want still someone to be able to locate you in an emergency, or a friend to be able to locate you. So I wouldn't say leave it in the car. And I wouldn't say put it on airplane mode or turn it off, but still, right, at least turning off the data will allow someone to reach you in an emergency and contact you if need be. Okay. Right? That's a much better way to go about it, or even do not disturb, right? And putting it away will definitely help you not be using it as a pacifier, because being an awkward scroller, and I'm telling you this as someone who is an awkward scroller, can actually hinder you a lot, okay? People might feel like you definitely uninterested if you just scrolling through your phone looking like you want to be somewhere else, all right? Let's hop into our point number 4, okay? You awkward scroller, you. Don't be an awkward scroller. Now, this one's going to sound weird, but I'm going to explain it to you and how it works, all right? So, if we think about conversation, and, let's put it in a more visual sense here, what conversation looks like and what it feels like. Conversation should kind of feel like a river. And if we're talking about, men approaching you, it should probably end in some sort of like, I'll just put date, question mark, right? So when guys are talking to you and, they're having conversation with you and we're thinking about what we want the end goal to be, if we're trying to make you more approachable so that men will obviously ask you out, talk to you, and you'll have more options to date, right? We want everything to be flowing, right? We want there to be flow. And this is meant to be like a river, right, in this example, but I want you to think of it the same way in terms of your conversation. See, one of the things that can happen if you are an unapproachable woman is you give off the vibe when guys do end up approaching you or talking to you. Let's say, for the sake of example, you and your friend go out somewhere and you're at a bar and a guy comes up to your friend and he's with a friend, so his friend comes up to you and starts having conversation with you. See, what I want you to take notice of, if on a regular basis, when guys try to start conversation with you or get conversation going, if you find that conversation tends to die out a lot whenever you're talking to a guy for the first time, or very quickly it'll go from him introducing himself, chit chat for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and then he goes on his way, this is a sign that you might be what we can call a conversation ender. Meaning the natural flow that a conversation is supposed to take, where guys feel like, okay, I'm getting signals that she's interested, I'm getting signals that she likes what's going on, and I can continue advancing and asking her more questions, and she seems interested in me as well, right? All of those things that will lead a guy to continue talking to you and continue having conversation. Sometimes you might not realize it, okay? I'm not saying it's your fault, but you might not realize that you're giving off a vibe of disinterest, okay? See, remember, guys are gauging what their level of success will be before they even come up to you. Now, by the time they introduce themselves to you, they're immediately gauging, okay, what is the feeling here? Is she feeling the vibe here? I came up to her, I took a chance here. Am I going to be wasting my time if I continue having conversation with her? Someone just said, Fishbowl in the TikTok chat said, I get annoyed easily. They're also seeing for themselves, is she annoyed at the fact that I approached her, or does she seem to like the fact that I approached her, right? Guys are gauging very quickly. Am I wasting time here? Or is this something that's going to be worth my while? And I know the reason I'm mentioning this is because I know some of you might actually make the mistake of conveying the opposite message than you actually feel. Some of you might be thinking, oh, I actually do want to talk to you, and I do like the fact that you approached me, but you're not conveying that in your body language and the way that you're showing interest. You're actually showing him the opposite. Maybe you're nervous, maybe you're a little bit socially awkward, and because you're nervous or socially awkward, you're making him feel like you're disinterested, right? Maybe you're having a lack of conversation, right? You're not smiling at all. You're not looking him in the eyes, which we're going to get to in a little bit as well, right? Or you just don't seem to have that energy that a guy would deem, oh, I'm successful in my approach. Me approaching you is working because clearly you're interested in me as well, and this will actually go somewhere. Maybe a date, question mark, right? Because we want, when a guy approaches you, for you guys to have conversation and he says, oh, I can't leave this conversation without getting your number first, right? I had such a good conversation with you and I think you're so fascinating. I want to continue getting to know you, hopefully over some dinner, right? That's the whole purpose of the approach. We don't just want men to approach you and then walk away, right? So if that's the case though, there has to be a feeling of reciprocation. And you don't want to make the mistake, because you're so socially awkward or because you're so nervous, of making men feel like you want the convo to end very, very quickly. You got to let conversation flow like a river. This is why I say, practice getting good at asking lots of questions. I know it's a little bit nerve-wracking, and it can be a skill that you have to learn, and it takes a lot of learning at the beginning because you're always thinking to yourself, what question do I ask next? What do I say next? What do I say next? Before he finishes his last sentence, I've got to come up with the next question. But I promise you, all you need to start doing is practicing, going out and practicing. As you get better at this, you'll start to become good at flowing with wherever a conversation goes, okay? I know it's painful, but I'm telling you as someone who's done it myself, okay? And not only someone who's done it myself, with alcohol, but done it myself sober, okay? I don't drink anymore. A lot of you OG members know that, okay? I haven't drank in 2 years, over 2 years. 2.5 years, okay? So I go out wherever I go, whether it's a party, event, a get together, a club, a bar, I always go sober. And I force myself to have conversation and keep conversation while being sober. So I say that to say, after a while, you build up the courage and the understanding of how to flow in a conversation and just allow it to go wherever it goes, but still being attentive enough during the conversation to ask good questions that will keep it flowing. Also, being understanding of your RBF, right? And understanding of your body language, that if you do like a guy that approaches you, you make him feel like you like the fact that he approached you, right? It can be very disorienting for guys when you're in your mind thinking, I like the fact that you approached me, but you're not conveying that. And then he's thinking, oh, clearly I should end this. Right? Because he's thinking I'm wasting my time continuing to talk to someone who clearly doesn't want to talk to me or is just kind of not feeling the vibe, right? Guys also, they need you to give them something if you really want them to continue pursuing. Doesn't mean you got to tell him he's the most handsome man on earth or compliment his t-shirt, but he's got to feel that energy from you. He's got to feel that vibe. The kids love vibes, right? All right. So let's go into our point number 5. Okay. We're getting right to it today. So, point number 5 here, and one of the most important ones. As I said, the eyes, okay? The eyes are so important, okay? It's very important. We're gonna draw it like this. It's very important. You have eyelashes, so we'll draw you like that. It's very important that you show men that you're approachable through your eyes. Please don't make the mistake of doing this the wrong way, okay? I'll show you what the wrong way is right here. This can be the difference, truthfully and honestly, between getting approached and not getting approached, as weird as it might sound. See, I'm not just talking about your ability to hold eye contact, because that's in the approach afterwards, right? Right, when he actually comes up to you. I'm also talking about the look in your eyes as it relates to your energy levels and what you're ready for, right? A lot of times, a lack of eye contact. So you know how I talk about eye contact is a great way to open the door for men to come up to you? If men are trying to get eye contact with you and trying to draw your eyes in, and let's say you're someone who's a little bit socially awkward. So when you see a guy trying to make eye contact with you, you're actually avoiding eye contact. And this is the most horrible thing, okay? Some of you, when you actually see a guy who's really attractive to you, that you actually would want to talk to, that's the one guy you avoid the most eye contact with. Tell me in the chat if that's you. When you see a really hot, sexy guy that you would actually really want to talk to, you generally avoid eye contact with that guy specifically because you really think he's really good looking and really sexy. That is the worst thing you can possibly do. Think about how many opportunities you're missing with men because the one that you actually want to come up to you and talk to you is the one man you're avoiding eye contact with. Can you see how twisted that is? Not that you're a bad person, but now let's put yourself in the man's shoes. He's the super attractive, tall, handsome, muscular man. And he's looking around, he's like, damn, that girl's sexy as hell. Who is she? What has she got going? I wonder if she liked, man, he's trying to catch her eye, right? Because he's an eye contact pro. And he's trying to catch her eye to try to see, oh, you into him? Are you seeing him? Are you feeling the vibes? Should he come up? Is this a moment right here that you're having? And every time he goes to look at you, you're like, oh, what's over here? What's on the ceiling? What's on, I can't look over there because clearly he's looking, girl, let's go to the bathroom or something, right? It's not going to work, right? You're not going to convey the message to him that he should spend his energy going up to you and having a conversation with you. I know in your mind you're thinking, but Thompson, I'm just avoiding the eye contact because it's so awkward for me. I don't know what to do. I freeze up. But the problem is you're not sending those guys the right signals and the right messages, which then in turn makes you so much more unapproachable. And you're thinking that men aren't coming up to you because you're not attractive, but it has nothing to do with that. In fact, in some of the cases, you're very attractive, your dump truck's huge, your yitties are amazing, you look like a supermodel, but you're not sending out the right signals. And then the men are confused or discombobulated because of the signals you're sending out, and they decide to themselves, it's not worth it. Right? Because they're saying to themselves, why would I spend all of this time and energy trying to go up to her, right? Also, they're thinking to themselves, I want to save myself the embarrassment of going up and talking to someone who clearly doesn't want to talk to me. Okay? Guys have feelings too, and their feelings are fragile. Witty bitty, itty titty, teeny whiny baby feelings, okay? They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to be rejected. If they're going to put their heart and their feelings on the line by saying, hey, I think you're interesting, I want to get to know you and talk to you, they don't want to be rejected by someone who's like, oh, you're disgusting, I would never talk to you, right? They want to make sure if they're going to put their self on the line, I know it sounds very silly, right? But if they're going to put themselves on the line at the risk of rejection, that they have a good chance of not being rejected. So you got to make sure if you actually find a guy attractive, I'm not saying you got to have eye contact with everyone in the room, but if you actually find a guy attractive, I want you to specifically hold eye contact with that guy, because what you're doing is communicating to him, the runway is clear and open for you to come and approach me. You're never doing the approaching, never, not in a million years. I don't know who taught you that. You're not doing that. But what you are doing is communicating to the men who would like to approach you that this is your opportunity to approach me, and you will have a high success rate in approaching me. I know it sounds very silly, but that's what men are gauging. They're thinking, do you want me to approach? And will I be successful if I do approach? And for a lot of men, that's all the push that they need to actually approach you. Now, I'll be honest with you, for some men, even that is not going to be enough. They're going to say, oh, look, I'm too much of a shy soy boy. I can't approach you even if we have eye contact for 80 million years. And they're going to say, I need you to come up to me. I need you to ask me for my number. I need you to ask me on a date. We're not even going to worry about those men, okay? We're only worried about the men who, as long as you can make yourself look and feel approachable, that they will approach you. So it's very important to never neglect any of these 5 aspects of being approachable, or in this case, being unapproachable. Does that make sense to all of you so far, and why that is very, very important, okay? Are we all on the same page? Make sense? Do you guys have any questions about the 5 that I just discussed here today? All right, let's go into our donations here, because I see some donations up in the Chizat, up in the YouTube chat. Nadine donates $5 in the YouTube chat. Just a $5 donation. Thank you so much. Okay, I appreciate that. And thank you to those of you who have donated in the TikTok chat. I appreciate that as well. I wasn't able to see it during the thing. I'm sure GoPlants donated somewhere there. So thank you, GoPlants, just in advance, because I'm sure you donated it there, okay? I appreciate you so much, and all of you that have donated. Let me see here. I had a lot of questions, actually. LP Baby says, be careful to the ladies with pure souls. Eyes are the windows to the soul, and they will attract all sorts of men, both the good and the bad. It's important to use discernment. Yes. So that's why I say it's not that you have to have eye contact with every guy that you see at the party or the club or the event. It's that making sure when you see a guy that you do actually want to approach you, you use eye contact as a communication that I want you to approach me and I would like to be approached by you. And you save that for the men that you're actually interested in, instead of doing the opposite, where the guy that you're actually interested in is the one guy who you avoid all eye contact with. We don't want that, okay? Someone said, what is number 2 and 3? I missed them. Okay, for those of you who are watching on TikTok and you missed any of the points that we discussed here, I want you to get all of the information. So all of the points that we discussed is on my YouTube, and I'm live on YouTube at the same time as I'm live on TikTok. So when you go to my YouTube page right now, it's just my name, Tomisin, you can go there and you'll see the live show happening. Just rewind it and you'll be able to see all of those live points there, okay? So you don't have to miss any of the conversation that we discussed, okay? Jen X says, do younger women think it's normal for a guy to ask you on a date by text or messaging app instead of phone convo? I would say that the younger generation is used to that simply because they're meeting men in different ways. So for example, a lot of women nowadays are meeting men on dating apps. So if you think about how a dating app works, you're meeting them through the app, messaging through the app, and so a lot of times you're going to get asked on a date through the app. So it's not abnormal for the younger generation, to answer your question. Yes. All right. Brunette in the TikTok chat says, is it bad if people think you're prestigious, like you mean like you're very high class? Is that what you're referring to? No, that's not a bad thing. But you don't want the way that you come across as prestigious to make it feel like you're unapproachable. There's a difference between looking like a woman with class and elegance and looking like someone who's stuck up that doesn't want to speak to anyone, okay? There's a complete difference in that. And you can still apply looking like you have class and elegance with being someone who is approachable still. Don't think that it has to be one or the other. Oh, if I'm pretty, if I'm good looking, if I dress nice, then I'm unapproachable. No. That's not what that means, right? You have to be able to balance that and still understand how to look approachable while still being someone that looks amazing, dresses amazing, and has a nice, cute, amazing princess queen vibe, all right? Blue says, in the past, you advised us to be inconvenient. Why must we make it easy for them? Must love bomb? Best let them prove themselves if they are in it for real. Here's the thing, Blues, that I want all of you to understand. Yes, you want to be mean with men in terms of making them work for you. And yes, you want to make sure you have boundaries and you're not just, willing to go with anything. But when we're talking about the approach, you have to make men feel like it's worth it to approach you. And when I say worth it, I just mean from the simple aspect of if he's going to be the one progressing you. Remember, he doesn't know you at the beginning. He doesn't know what he's getting with you. He doesn't know how amazing you are. But you want to be something that is enticing enough that he wants to get to know you. So there's an art to that, to making yourself enticing. You're not selling yourself, and it's not about necessarily thinking, oh, I've got to do all this for the men, but you want to be approached, don't you? You want men to like you, don't you? You want men to ask you out, don't you? I'm assuming you do if you're here. And if that's the case, we have to set you up for success so that you're the most approachable you can be. Doesn't mean you got to take your clothes off. Doesn't mean you got to wear a super short miniskirt. Doesn't mean you got to wear a low cut top. It just means you have to understand how body language, aura, and your face language will communicate to men whether you're approachable, right? And they'll be successful in approaching you, or whether they'll be unsuccessful. Because if they deem you to be someone who is super uninterested in talking to anyone, why would they spend their time and energy going up to you to talk to you just to be rejected? It doesn't make logical sense for the men. But then you end up in a situation where, because you're thinking about how to be mean and not give men anything, then men end up not coming up to you, not approaching you, but then you're more frustrated because men never talk to you. Do you see how that works, right? And I don't want that for you, which is why I try to make you aware of some of these things here so you can be better understanding of that, right? Clara says, what if you're not big on physical attraction? What do you mean? For you, like you're not big on physical attraction that you feel towards men, or you don't feel like you're very physically attractive? Which one are you referring to, right? Someone says, how do we look confident? I actually talked about that in a previous show about confidence, but confidence is a little bit similar to this, right? It's about having your walk right. So I talked about this one time when we were talking about confidence, making sure if you really want to be confident, this is going to be a little bit of a side note, a pro tip, I should say. If you really want to be confident, make sure to wear things that you're actually comfortable in. It's going to sound weird, but a lot of times when you're trying something super new to you, like wearing a brand new pair of heels that you've never walked in before, or wearing a brand new dress or a brand new outfit that you've never worn before in your entire life, for the first time you put it on and you went out in it for the first time, a lot of times you'll actually feel less confident because you might have a little bit of a wardrobe malfunction. So it's best if you really want to come across super confident, whether it be on a date or whether it be going out for any particular reason, wear something that you've worn before that you know fits you right, that you know makes you look good, that you won't have a wardrobe malfunction in. Wear heels that you've worn before that you know after 2 hours, I'll still be looking good, but I'll also be feeling good. Because if you wear that brand new pair of YSL Cassandra heels, okay, I know heels, and I know those are very uncomfortable. You wear those nice looking YSL Cassandra heels with the YSL on the heel there, and you go out after 1 hour, your feet are going to be killing you. But the problem is now it's going to be on your face that your feet are killing you. And similar to like if you're out somewhere and you have to poop, right? Your uncomfortability is going to make it so that when people are trying to have conversation with you or trying to talk to you, you're going to seem like you don't want to be there because, you know, you have to poop, or in this case, you have your heels that are very uncomfortable. Okay. And because they're making you so uncomfortable, you're not really willing to give the energy of, oh, I like being here. I want to talk to you. I want to have conversation with you. Right. So it's very important that I say when we talk about confidence, it's not just thinking the confidence, but it's also putting yourself in the best place to succeed by not giving yourself a wardrobe malfunction and not having other things that are making you feel weird or off that are going to make it seem like you have little to no confidence. Okay. My Lip Sever says, I dress so eccentric that you purposely approached me, that I know you purposely approached me. Oh, so you're saying that the way that you dress, you know that men are approaching you because of the way that you dress. That's perfectly fine as well. You can combine the way that you dress with the way that you, your aura and your energy and all of that that you give off combines to make you very approachable to men, right? LP Baby said, you mentioned this, wearing what you feel comfortable and confident in a previous episode, Tommy. I forget the title of the show, but it was so good. Yes, it was definitely one of those shows, and it had something to do with confidence, right? Miss Francis says, so no Jordans on a date? Look, I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't wear, but for a date, I don't think Jordans are going to send the message that you want. And I don't think you're going to attract the type of guy you're looking for if you wear Jordans on a date. You might attract some black Air Force energy type of guys. If you guys know what that means, then you know what that means. If you know, you know. But I don't know if that's necessarily the type of guy you're looking. Maybe some of you like black Air Force One energy type of guys, and that's your vibe, in which case, wear Jordans on your date. If you don't like black Air Force One type of energy type of guys, then probably wearing Jordans on your first date is not the vibe that you're looking for. Okay, I don't know if that one's gonna get you to where you want to go. All right, but it's all up to you and what makes you feel the most comfortable. Even if you want to wear black Air Force Ones, I guess you can go ahead and do that, but you definitely will be attracting a very particular type of version or type of man, right? Mary Ken says, I'm Asian. I love them dark chocolate men. It's not just dark chocolate men when I say black Air Force energy. I'm talking about a very particular type of chocolate man. Not even just chocolate man, a very particular type of man when I say black Air Force energy, all right? Those of you that know what I'm talking about know what that means. I won't get into it, all right? Someone says, LP Baby says, serious question. What if we don't have an RBF and we are just an earth sign or earth sign rising? Well, I'm not as in tune with astrology to know what that even means. But if you're saying that your star sign is having to do with why you have an RBF or you have a natural look of disinterest, then we still need to adjust it. Right? I'm not saying you got to change yourself, but you have to understand either way, it affects men's desire to approach you. Because if they're deeming you to be unapproachable because they feel like you don't even want to be here or you don't even want to be approached, then they're just going to not approach you. It's as simple as that. You have to understand it's really that cut and dry. Kimberly Tay says, I have a question about awkward scrolling. When you are alone in public, what else should you do besides scroll? Example, I'm at a bar for a drink. Well, okay, so what I do is I naturally feel more comfortable if I'm holding a drink in my hand instead of just having my hands at my side. Because I find that I feel the most awkward if I'm not doing anything with my hands. Then I don't know if I should put them in my pocket. I don't know if I should cross. You definitely don't want to cross your arms because it's going to make you look very disinterested and unapproachable. But, you know, I don't know what to do with my hands. So I tend to be the most comfortable when I'm holding a drink. Obviously, I don't drink. So there's water in my cup, but you get the gist, right? It makes me feel like I can do something with my hands, sip the drink, and I get hydrated because I'm drinking water. So my advice is hold something in your hands that will make you more comfortable and less just flimsy around, right? Now, if you can combine that with a few things, I know you mentioned going out alone. If you can combine that with a few things like holding a drink and then talking to a friend, that would be even better because now you're doing multiple things at once. Or if you can be like holding a drink and, I don't know, finding something to do. Maybe you're eating something or maybe you're whatever the case may be, okay? Holding something will always be better than having your arms at your side and doing nothing, right? Blue says, put them on your hips and wear a red cape. Me? Why would I wear a red cape? Is that an inside joke? I don't know that one, all right? Blair says, men wonder why you don't have a phone. It's an immediate convo starter. I would definitely say men always find it more interesting people that seem like they're interested in being there than people who seem very disinterested in being there. It's just a natural thing, right? People tend to mirror your energy, and if they feel like you don't have a lot of good energy towards even being here, then it just becomes very difficult for men to be enticed to want to come up to you and want to have a conversation with you again, right? Oh, by the way, for those of you who have a question for me, whether it be a private question or, whether it be a question about the show or a question that is unrelated to the things that we discuss here about being approachable, but you just want to get my advice or my perspective on it, you can go over to the link in my bio on TikTok or my description on YouTube, and you can ask where it says private relationship advice. You can send me a message there. When you click that link, you submit your question, you type it out as many paragraphs as you want, you send it in to me, and then I will respond with a voice message, usually 8 to 10 minutes long, sometimes up to 20 minutes. I did one that was 20 minutes the other day. So depending on how long your question is, it'll depend on how long my information will be. So you can ask me a question that way. If you want, it's a 24/7 hotline. You can always access it and ask me a question, okay? Blue says only superheroes wear red capes. Who am I saving? I'm not saving anyone. I'm giving y'all information. I'm not saving y'all, all right? Let's hop into our next segment, all right? Our next segment is our React segment where I react to TikTok videos that you guys have all sent me from across the universe. And we have some fun with them. We have some conversation about them and learn from them as well. Okay, so while we prepare for our React segment, spam up your headphone emojis, spam up your baby oil emojis, spam up your camcorder emojis. We're gonna have fun with this and we're gonna film it in 4K, okay? And before we do that, I'm going to clean up here, get ready for our React segment. We're gonna watch an intermission video that comes from Natasha Swan. She's gonna be talking to you all about, watch this, if you wanna date the richest men. Okay, and we'll see on the other side in just a moment, and we'll start off our React segment together, okay? Natasha Swan, please take it away for us.
What truly impresses me is how down to earth you stay as a person when you have all this abundance. How nicely you treat people around you, how classy you are, how you act towards other people, how big your heart is. Honestly, it's the hottest thing in the world where you're so powerful. You can own anything you want, but you don't make it your biggest flex. You don't make it your identity. Yes, you're wealthy. Yes, you have all these opportunities. Yes, you have the freedom, but that does not identify you. Women literally don't understand that for a wealthy man to spend money on you is like the easiest thing that they can do. For them to send you go shopping or fly you somewhere, book you an apartment or a room somewhere, it's like nothing. Literally like nothing. They spend this money, they make the same money in an hour. When he spends money on you, it does not mean that he cares about you. Girls go crazy with this lifestyle and the beautiful, luxurious things. Girl, it's not yours. It's always his. It is always his and will be his. It's the same thing. He would fall in love with you because you have a cat. Okay? Like, it is your cat. It will always be your cat. But he falls in love with you and your life and wants to be with you because you have this cat. He does not care. You know when he cares? Is when he prioritizes time for you to be with you and he checks on you throughout his busy day. They value you when they connect emotionally with you. It's the most expensive thing they can provide, emotional vulnerability. Before we start talking about where and how to meet billionaires, let's just quickly talk about answering the question, why do you need that guy in your life? Why do you want to attract them? Seriously, be brutally honest with yourself at least. You want to marry a rich guy, you want to date for fun, you want to experience the lifestyle and have all these luxurious things. You need help with something financially, like answer it for yourself. Now, when you answered that question, ask yourself, why does this man needs you in his life? Women have such crazy expectations about men. It is crazy that girls literally are waiting for Prince Charming on a white Rolls Royce to knock their door. But babe, are you up to this man's level? No, seriously, why would a man who can have any woman in the world would choose you? I'm not trying to bring you down. I'm just trying to say that there's so much work to be done and it's so beautiful. There's so much to work on internally for you as a woman on a daily basis to become better and better. So you can stop going to all these places, sit and look for guys, but instead to start working on being a woman that these guys need, literally need, not just want, need in their life, that helps, that adds something into their life. In order for him to see you seriously, you cannot just take from his lifestyle and to have benefits from his life. You have to add something to his life. And being on the same level with your men does not mean to be rich. Oh my God. It means to be kind, to be giving, to be educated, to be emotionally intelligent, to make him feel safe, to be a safe place for him, where he wants to come back, where he wants to be. If you want to be in a higher society, it is extremely important to know etiquette, to act classy. Because when you are with him and he's with you, you both represent each other. You represent him, he represents you. If you embarrass yourself, you also embarrass him. It will sound harsh, but these guys right away, when they meet you, they put you either in a have fun box or serious relationship girl box. The world of wealthy men and pretty women is not a fairy tale. It's a harsh world. It's a harsh environment where people judge, where people are so mean sometimes, and you have to be strong enough as a woman. How do I know? I had to go through all of that. Sometimes after an event, I would go home and literally cry. I felt so nasty and empty after being around some people. That's why it's so important to be a smart woman and to know how to protect yourself, to know your boundaries, because if you are not confident enough, if you don't know how to stand up for yourself, how to behave and how to act, people are going to eat you alive. And that's not only in a higher society, that's everywhere, babe. Like seriously, you need to protect yourself. Who's going to tell you this if not me? Don't be mad at me. But at the same time, if you choose to be in this society, I don't want you to close your heart because love exists. There is good people. It's just very rare. Because in order to be very successful, you have to become at some point emotionally unavailable. You have to close your heart and work freaking hard. But a woman with a closed heart is a miserable woman. Not just a woman, a man too. Now, if you're still listening, if you're still with me and you work on yourself, you are yourself, secure woman, you want to meet billionaires, where do you meet them? No, but I can't go to all of these places. You need to be rich to go to all of these places. No, you don't, especially as a
Thank you so much, Miss Natasha Swan, for your amazing advice. Let's hop into our first segment here, or our next segment here, which is our React segment, and start with this video.
I've noticed that a woman will respect a gay man more than a straight man. Why is that?
Well, I mean, gay men do respect women more than straight men do.
A woman will literally treat a gay man better than a straight man.
A straight man literally would treat his homeboy better than a woman.
They say that they don't want a feminine man.
So stop bitching.
So why are you so happy when you meet one?
A person's sexuality has nothing to do with their feminine or masculine energy. But to answer your question, most time women are not happy around gay men. They feel comfortable, they feel safe, they feel protected.
They be mad mean to straight men.
They're always mean to straight men because they already know what you want from them. Vagina, booty hole, a game, or their gay best friend.
I just don't get it. It makes me think that women want...
Sorry, every time I hear this, I'm confused. Because I'm just one man, right? So I don't know how other men are going and operating about their life. Is this a regular occurrence that straight men will be obsessed with your booty hole? I'm just genuinely asking because I feel like I have a very deep misconception about this because it's just not my desire. So I'm not sure how other people go about this. In your experiences as women, do you find that men seem to have an obsession with your booty? Because I've been getting actually a lot of messages about stuff like this. And I try to see the other perspective, but I'm trying to understand if you like women and you like the anatomy of women. I just don't understand what's fascinating about being in her booty hole instead of being, I don't understand that concept. That one's difficult for me to grasp because your woman made parts are wetter, more lubricated, softer, and I would assume more. I just don't. What is the purpose? I don't. Can someone explain to me, if you know how a man has described you, what is the purpose? What's the actual purpose? Because I don't genuinely understand what the logic.
Want men to be feminine.
Women don't want men to be feminine. Women want men to be man, whether he's more in touch with his feminine energy or masculine energy.
Why does he get more respect than a straight man?
I don't know. Maybe because he earned it.
Why you so tender with his...
I know we're on this video, but I'm also watching the chat. Some people said it's tighter. Okay, but isn't it more friction? I guess you can use lube. Sorry to be super graphic, but I don't understand. Is it that much tighter that it's that like much more of a more pleasurable experience? Is this okay? Whatever.
feelings? But a straight man, you could just disrespect with ease.
You're stating that they disrespect y'all with ease and it's bothering you so much. But then you go to compare yourself to a feminine man. I think you should look in the mirror.
It's often very weird, bro. They'll support a gay man's content over a straight man's content.
Gay men and women connect on a level that straight men have yet to connect with themselves on. Until you realize that gay men and women have the same shared experiences with guys like you, then you will be able to understand. Straight man content is nothing but them degrading women, talking about games, sex, and hoes. What real woman want to sit back and consume that type of content?
A gay man will speak on something that a straight man will speak on, and the straight man will get all the backlash, but the gay man gets congratulations.
Maybe because y'all point of views be dumb as hell. I don't know.
Make the shit make sense, dog.
How the hell can we make it make sense when you don't even make sense, dog?
I've noticed that a woman will respect a gay man more than...
I think so. There's a thing that it's a little bit part of more spiritual, but there's a thing that I describe as, not me describe, it's a terminology called limiting beliefs. Whenever you have a limiting belief about something, it's going to manifest itself into your life, and it's going to become hard in concrete in your mind as a truth to you because it's a limiting belief of yourself or your life, and then that will become your reality. So what I mean by that is, as weird as it might sound, when you convince yourself that women are closer or favor gay men over you as a straight man, that will become your limiting belief, that every time you go and build a relationship with a woman, you'll always spot the ways in which she treats gay men worse than you, or sorry, better than you, I should say. And that will become like the reoccurring theme in your life that you believe in is total truth. And the problem with that is, even if it's not necessarily the reason why a woman is connecting with a gay man more than you, you'll be convinced as your straight man limiting belief that women can only connect with gay men and they'll never be able to connect with you. But what ends up happening is, and I'm not saying this guy necessarily does it, but what ends up happening to the mind is, rather than focusing on how do I connect with the women in my life in a romantic sense and an emotional sense that I can feel like we have the same level of depth as she seems to have with gay men, they will just operate under this limiting belief that the gay men somehow have a better connection, and they won't do the work necessary to grow their connections and deepen their connections with women or understand them better. Now, limiting beliefs can apply to any situation, and boy or girls, but this is a perfect example of a limiting belief that I'm sure he'll probably suffer from for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? Which is unfortunate.
I'm waiting on my Uber, and I was like, you know what, this is a perfect time to do a little first date icks, because I have a lot. You're
Where do I know her from? She looks very familiar. Anyways.
lucky enough to even land a date with me, and you show up empty-handed. Not a flower, not a chocolate, not a teddy, not a nothing. You're never gonna see me again. Before we even get to dinner table, we've had a conversation. You know my love language is gifts. So you showing up empty-handed, just you, nothing to wow me, nothing to make an impression, you're never gonna see me again. Ordering a girly drink. There should be no reason that we're both ordering an espresso martini. Get a gin and tonic. A Manhattan? A glass of wine even. Oh no, you want a lemon drop. Okay. If you get your drink and you ask for a straw, now I have to watch you drink this girly drink. You're pursing your lips every time. And if you lose track of your straw and you're fiddling for it, I'm gonna excuse myself, go to the restroom, and never come back. If you're a picky eater, I don't have time for a motherfucker that only eats chicken tenders. We're at a steakhouse, babe. Like, grow up. Last but not least.
Okay, but how do you order your steak? Don't tell me let's go to a steakhouse and then you order in well done steak. Because we might as well go into the supermarket, you get beef jerky. You go into the steakhouse ordering well done steak. So we talking steak talk, let's talk steak talk.
If we're in a crowded area and you're leading the way and you don't like reach back to grab my hand, someone could snatch me up. And how would you know? You wouldn't, because you never reached back to grab my hand. I would love to hear some of y'all's icks in the comments just to see if I can add some to my list. I'm waiting on my Uber and I was like, you know what, this is a perfect time to do a little. That's
one of my icks, actually. One of my icks is going to a steakhouse and someone ordering well done steak at the steakhouse. Not because, you know, I'm judgmental or anything like that, but I used to go to a steakhouse and order well done steak until I became more versed, more cultural, right? I have culture now, all right? And I grew up and understood how steak actually works and why ordering medium, or in even some cases medium rare, is a better steak and a better flavor, better taste, better experience than ordering a steak well done. Okay, I usually go medium. I don't usually go medium rare, but I'll go medium basically all the time. So that's kind of low key one of my icks. Okay, it's not that important, but it is one of my icks, because then I know you ain't really done your research. You don't really know about fine dining. You just kind of dine, right? If I tell you let's order A5 Wagyu or the filet mignon, you don't even know the difference. You don't know which one's better, which one will have better. If we talking steak talk, let's talk steak talk.
Birkin is like 20 grand. If you go give one to a crackhead, they don't know what that is. They're not going to know how to treat it. And if you're that person who's given yourself to somebody who doesn't understand your value and doesn't know how to treat you, you will begin to question if you are just a crackhead's bag. You're not going to realize you're a Birkin. You need to be in a whole different fucking part of the city. A Birkin is like 20 grand. If you go give one to a crackhead, they don't know what that is. They're not going to know how to treat it. And if you're that person who's given yourself to somebody who doesn't understand your value and doesn't know how to treat you, you will begin to question if you are just a crackhead's bag. You're not going to realize you're a Birkin. You need to be in a whole different fucking part of the city.
That's funny. I like that analogy. I like that analogy. But that's the thing about, so when you have your standards, so part of your standards is not just, okay, do I date guys with money? Do I date guys who are handsome? Part of your standard should also be, do I date guys who respect me? Do I date guys who are consistent with me? Do I date guys who can communicate with me? Because that's part of like the treatment that he has of you, which should also be part of your desires. Okay. And I think that that's such an important part to note for you when you're picking guys and you're picking the guy that you want to actually invest your time in. Also be thinking about picking the guy that treats you how you feel the most valuable. Do you understand what I mean? Are we on the same page?
Men pursue women in the first place because they find them physically hot. I pursued my girlfriend of over a year because I found her physically attractive in the first place. Now, a lot of people will sit here and comment and say, yeah, well, that's just common sense. We all do that. Believe it or not, a lot of society actually blankets this concept, and the idea that physical attraction doesn't really matter is completely false. A lot of women will say, yeah,
I have a story to tell you guys after this, but let him finish.
It's just about the emotional connection built over time. The physical stuff doesn't really matter. Everybody lies to themselves. Everybody says this. They say physical attraction doesn't matter. It's about a friendship. It's about emotional connection. That's true to an extent, but physical attraction is so damn important when you're in your younger 20s, younger 30s. I mean, that's how we procreate as humans. And I think society needs to stop blanketing this idea that it is all about emotional friendship type connections. It's not. If you're not physically attracted to your partner, it's never going to last. You should look at your partner and think, wow, this person is so beautiful. I can't believe they're laying in this bed next to me. So if we all can just be a little bit more honest with ourselves, that the whole reason why we pursue each other and the whole reason why humans want to procreate initially is because of the physical surface. Men pursue women.
Okay, so I want to tell you guys a little bit of a story that I think is kind of funny and crystallizes what he said here. So I was helping a woman the other day, and she was having an issue with a guy, and she she was like, well, this guy kind of ghosted me. And I was like, okay, what happened? And she said, well, I went to a basketball game. She was a photographer, right? I don't want to out her stuff, but she was a photographer. She went to a basketball game. She was taking pictures. And at the basketball game, that guy spotted her. He then added her on Instagram. And then after his basketball game was over, he went back to his hotel. He said, come over to my hotel. She went back to his hotel. And then next one thing led to another. They ended up sleeping together. Now, afterwards, she ghosted him. Or sorry, he ghosted her, right? And she was kind of upset about the situation. She was asking me what to do and what the next steps would be. So as we were having a conversation about it and I was helping her, I mentioned to her something about physical attraction that I think is actually very important to recognize. See, it's funny how attraction will play such a deep part in our psychology, in our minds, that we don't even realize what's happening underneath the surface and how much of a priority it is for us to be attracted to someone. What I mean by that is I pointed out to her, you do realize how important just the opportunity for sex is for you, because you literally put yourself in danger by going to a strange man's hotel room that you have never met before, that you literally met at that basketball game that same day. And you said to yourself, you know what, despite the fact that this is very unsafe and I don't know what I'm walking into and I could literally be going to get unalived, I'm going to go simply because I have a desire, right, to explore the possibilities with this guy that I'm physically attracted to, because obviously she doesn't know him. She's basing her decision solely off of her physical attraction to him. So I mentioned to her, it's crazy how much physical attraction plays a role in your decision making, because simply if you weren't physically attracted to that guy and he invited you to his hotel room, you wouldn't even have convinced yourself to go. Think about that and how crazy that is. And all the different things she could have walked into just by deciding to go. Obviously, she's fine. She's perfectly fine. Nothing happened. But think about all the crazy things she could have walked into simply because she made a decision solely based on her physical attraction to a guy. And then I was like, think about now how important it is to understand what's going on in your mind and why you're making the decisions that you're making, and never underestimate the power of physical attraction to overlook things. Because that guy could have been anyone. And simply because he was attractive to you, you made a decision that could have literally unalived you. So the whole point of that story is to take that and understand, all right, when I'm meeting people, I understand physical attraction is going to skew my mind into a particular place, to want to believe particular things and to hear particular things. I need to actively undo that and make sure that as I'm seeing and observing behavior, I also contextualize all the things that I'm observing by understanding I'm more likely going to want to believe in things that make me feel good when I'm physically attracted to you. But I still need to make sure that I acknowledge things for what they are, despite my desire to make myself feel good. Okay? So very important, deep thing to think about when you're thinking about that.
You don't know anybody in 90 days. You certainly don't know them well enough in 45 days. I don't care how good it feels. I don't care how right it feels. People tell you what they want you to hear when they're first trying to get you. Do you see what I'm saying? They tell you you're beautiful. They tell you all that stuff. And you know, like those romantic comments, women sending them money because they know what women want to hear. Then they tell you, and we got this great story going on about how this is the man of our dreams. All of us, I think, want the fairy tale. It was instant. He was my soulmate. It was the attraction. That
doesn't work like that.
A movie. We are living life just so
Real life, third-dimensional life.
you know, the man of your dreams does not exist. There's going to be a man. Yes, sir. He's going to be okay, but he's going to be full of faults and problems and issues just like you. So if you're with a guy and he seems perfect, all that means is you don't know him well.
No, yeah. I love that. I love that. I love that. I believe in that wholeheartedly. The only reason you think a man is completely perfect and there's nothing wrong with him is because you don't know him well enough. And it's not because people are horrible, people are evil, and I want you to believe in the worst and be a negative Nancy. That's not why. I just want you to realize that people are human. And as weird as it's going to sound, I want when you date people for you to lower your expectation of what your partner eventually will look like and feel like to be with. The reason I say that is because, yes, it will feel great to be with the person that you love, that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. But not every moment will be filled with glee and joy and bliss. There will be some heartbreak. There will be some sadness. You'll be upset sometimes. They'll be unattractive to you sometimes. They'll turn you off sometimes. But that's real life. That's real life. And it's better for you to go into your dating stages and your talking stages understanding that I'm going to meet a real person with real flaws who's not really perfect, but that's okay. It doesn't stop me from being able to have a happy, healthy relationship with someone just because they're not super perfect. And that's a balance that you're going to have to kind of figure out how you're going to walk that line. Because like I said, it's not about assuming the worst in people, but it's also about understanding that nobody's going to be perfect absolutely. And no one's going to have absolutely no flaws. It don't work like that. What you got to decide for yourself is what are the most important things to you, the most important qualities to you, the most important parts of a dynamic or the way that a guy treats you or goes about you or speaks to you, and deciding to yourself what you must be in your relationship, must be present in your romantic relationship, and what are things that you can compromise on and work with. Meaning that if there are flaws in those areas and they're not too extreme, you can work with someone like that, right? But making sure that all of the things that are the super important priorities for you are all ticked off on your checklist, okay? That's the very important part of understanding how to date properly, all right? Let's hop into our next segment here. For those of you who are OG members of the Players Club community, you guys know what segment is coming. And I want you to spam it up in the chat if you do know what segment is coming, because it is a special time. It is an amazing time. And it is a time where you're going to laugh and you might even cry. All right. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your entire home. If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. I think I'm going to whisper the time again for those of you with headphones. Okay? Lisa said I got headphones and I'll whisper it this time. Discord time. Yeah. Okay, chat. That was the whisper version. All right. So for those of you who have no idea what Discord time is, I'm going to explain this to you right now. So Discord time is essentially where all the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their situationship or their relationship, and I answer it live on the show. Now, I'm going to explain to you the different ways in which you can submit a question, because there are 3 different ways. Now, the first way to submit your question is by going to our free relationship advice forum that is available here through the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description on YouTube. Click where it says Players Club Discord, and then you can drop your question in our free section here. Now, I'll warn you, in our free section, it is a first come, first serve section. So you see all of these highlighted questions here. There are a lot of highlighted questions. These are questions that I haven't yet gotten to. And so the oldest question here is about 38 days old, a little bit over 30 days old. So it's probably going to take me close to 3 weeks to get to your question if you ask your question today. Now, if you don't want to wait 3 weeks or 2 weeks to get your question answered because you're a very impatient person, that's okay. I understand. There's another option for you to skip the line so you don't have to wait any time. All right. Now, this version of our submission form, our relationship advice form, is called our premium relationship advice section. Now, the way that you access this section here is by going to the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description on YouTube, and click where it says Premium Discord Relationship Advice. And then when you click that link there, it's going to prompt you to donate to the show. And then it's also going to prompt you to send in the title of your username and the title of your question that you're going to put in there. Now, when you do that, it lets me get a notification on my phone, and then I'm able to see that that's you and that's your question that you sent in. And then when I go through here and I look through here, I can match up the questions. That way I know that your question is supposed to be there, because obviously all of these people are getting to skip the line and skip the queue. And so they're not having to wait any time because I answer these immediately. So we got to keep it fair that way by making sure you're actually donating to the show and doing it how you're supposed to do it. All right. So the third way to send in your question is through our private relationship, I guess we can call it hotline. Now, the way that this works, this is available in our Discord here. The link is also in my description on YouTube, and it's in my bio on TikTok. And you click where it says private relationship advice. Now, this hotline, the way that it works is you can submit a typed out question to me, type out as many paragraphs as you want in as much detail as you want. Tell me about your situation, the advice that you need, or the perspective that you need. You send in your question to me, and then I answer you via your email, and I send you back a voice message that's usually 8 to 10 minutes long, pertaining to your situation, advising you or giving you perspective as you may need. Okay, that's available to you 24/7 in case you don't want to have your information read out on the show, or you're just more of a private person. That's just your type of vibe. Okay, now let's get to our premium questions here, and we'll start off with Cow. Is that how we pronounce it? Cow, right? Cow, I would assume. All right. Revenge and confusion. Wow, this sounds like a movie. Okay, so I'm 25 and he is 32. We talked for 2 months and then I went no contact. I ran into family at the bank and he asked for my number. Okay. Later that day, he texted me saying I looked nice and he would like to see me soon. A few days later, he called me at 11 p.m. I ignored him. That's quite a strange time to call after he just met you. I told him I don't take calls after 9 p.m. and he understood. Good answer. He asked me then to go out for drinks, and I suggested maybe drinks and a walk instead. Wait, what? Why did you suggest and the walk? I'm confused. Then he asked if I hookah. You like hookah? You like shisha? They know what you want. And when I didn't respond, he sent me a photo of him doing it. LOL. I ignored that too. Next day, he texted me to meet up, and I told him I wasn't interested that day, which he apologized for. He asked how he could be more considerate, and I told him to respect my boundaries and be intentional with our plans. Okay, I understand what you're saying now. Said he would, but was texting inconsistent, and I noticed low effort on his part. Eventually, we meet up, and he asked awkward questions about motherhood, love languages, and complimented me excessively. He tried to put his arm around me and hold my hand, but I told him not to touch me. Okay, wait, what? Okay. Are you religious? That's not a diss. I'm okay. He put his arm around you and he tried to hold your hand. You're telling him no. I'm not saying you can't tell him no, but I'm a little bit confused. What do you want out of this situation here? You just like, or is there a religious reason in which you're like super like don't touch me type of thing? Because that is a little bit strange, right? Like he would be wondering why you want to date. You don't even want him to touch you. The next day I thanked him and asked to talk. He didn't respond until 3 days later. Felt hurt and anxious, realizing I didn't want to be with someone who caused that anxiety. When we spoke, he admitted he liked me and wanted to pursue me, but his actions didn't match his words. He kept sending vague texts like happy Thursday, which I ignored. Okay, I'm glad you ignored those. I stopped responding after 2 months, and eventually I ran into him at an event. Damn, he got your location. My uncle met with him. When he asked how he felt. Wait, what? Why would your uncle? Okay. My uncle met with him. When asked how he felt about me, he said he loved me and wanted to marry me, but couldn't explain his actions. How did your uncle even know that he was the one that you were taught? How did he? Okay, this is quite a coincidence. My uncle advised him to improve his communication, but he still didn't follow through. It's been weeks since they spoke, and I haven't heard anything. I'm proud for cutting it timely, but still confused. I feel like I was part of his rotation and don't understand why he kept engaging if he wasn't serious. Any advice on what's going on and how to move forward? Possible ideas for revenge. Okay, so Cal, I'm going to mention two things. The first thing I want to mention is I want to ask you what it is that you're looking for as well. I'm not saying that you can't stand on business and have boundaries. I definitely want you to do that. But I'm also a little bit wondering what are your own end goals, and what is your MO? Like, what are your motives? Meaning, if he's trying to put his arm around you, like he asks you out on a date and he tries to put his arm around you and he tries to hold your hand, not that you can't say no to that, but you do understand you're kind of sending a message that you don't really like him at all, right? Like there obviously like should be some sort of romantic touching in some, like even the smallest sense. I'm not saying make out with him on the first date, but if you're not even going to allow him to put his arm around you, like there's a little bit of a disconnect there. And I'm wondering, like, what are your motives and what do you want out of this situation? Because you do have to understand and put yourself in his shoes. That might be a little bit confusing for him, right? And someone said she's probably Middle Eastern. So if you are Muslim, I wish you would have said this in your chat. Because if you're Muslim, then that will definitely change how I feel about that and my understanding of why you did that. He did ask you if you want shisha, so maybe you are Middle Eastern. That's also possible. But here's the thing. If that's not your specified reason for doing that, then I'm a little bit confused, because now I'm confused. What message are you trying to send him? Are you trying to send him a message that you're disinterested? Or are you trying to send him a message that you want him to work harder? If that's the case, that you just want him to work harder, I don't think that that's necessarily the way to go about it, because I think you're actually sending him a message that I want you to stop working at all and stop asking me out because I don't want to be here. That's the only thing that I feel like is probably a little bit confusing there. And I'm not sure what the intention is on your part. Now, the other thing as it relates to this situation, I know that you're saying that you're confused, but there's not much that you can do here, because if he has decided for himself that he's not willing to put in the work to like be in a relationship with you or make it work or ask you out, then that's his own prerogative and his own choice. And you're not supposed to be the one saying, why did you leave? Why did you stop talking to me? You got to start talking to me again. Let's start texting. Like, he's showing you that he's disinterested. So allow him to be disinterested. Doesn't make you a bad person, but there's not much that you're supposed to be doing after he's showing you that he's disinterested and he's not willing to work hard for you. If he is also Muslim and you're Muslim as well, there should be an understanding of how things are supposed to go. And first of all, you're not even supposed to be having a boyfriend. So there should be an understanding that obviously things move quickly if you guys are serious about each other. But then obviously the men in the Muslim culture are going to be extremely serious, extremely fast if they really want you. And so anything outside of that is a waste of time. And so if that's the case for you and that's the scenario that you're in, there's no point even wasting your time if this man's not even serious enough with you to take you out on a second date or to even like really try and progress this forward. If that's the case and that's your culture and that's your reasoning for going about it that way, right? That means he should be ultra, ultra, ultra progressive and serious and intentional with you, not this super laid back vibe where he can't even be bothered to consistently text you, right? So that even makes it more of a reason why you shouldn't waste your time. And you did exactly the right thing in ignoring these kind of halfway texts, these last minute things. I'm so glad you didn't go and smoke shisha with him or smoke hookah with him. I'm so glad you didn't do that, because that would have been a waste of your time, and you don't want to be the pull up to smoke hookah girl. Okay, I promise you of that. That's not a good sign. So my answer to your question is now it's time for you to do nothing. Possible ideas. I have no ideas for revenge, because revenge is a waste of your time. You want to move forward with men who actually want to be with you, not moving backward with men who have shown you that they're not what you're looking for. Okay. No revenge time for you. Let's go on to our next question here, which comes from Vicky. Okay. We have a screenshot clearly. How can I respond? I have been getting to know a guy for 2 months. He was the one who initially approached me in a polite way and has made a lot of effort so far. I was trying to follow all your advice, haven't done it perfectly, but a lot better than I was in the past before I knew all your guidance. Okay, that's still getting somewhere. He generally is very well-mannered and hasn't pushed for intimacy or sexy chat. So far, all we have done is kissed, and he DJ'd me once. We are not officially girlfriend and boyfriend, so I know that went too far already as per your pineapple timeline. Okay, you're correct. You know that. Now, for the first time, he has attempted to instigate pineapple talk whilst we were in the middle of messaging, and I don't know how to respond. Okay, so we're going to see some sexting here. Please guide me, as I want to know, as I want him to know that I'm serious, and I also want to find out if he is too. I haven't asked him directly, as I feel any guy will lie before pineapples and just tell you whatever you want to hear. You're exactly right. So see screenshot attached. Let's open this screenshot up because we're nosy as hell, chat. All right. Let's drag this over here and oops. And then we're going to make it bigger here. And then we pull this up here for everyone to see. Okay, there we go. All right. So let's see here. He's emojis, haha, no way. Where was it? In Moscow. When are you taking me? One day, inshallah. All right, inshallah, right? Which just means for sure, basically, right? What are you doing? Just laying down, about to sleep, naked. Where did this go, though? Show us where this went, though. Or did you really just not respond to this at all yet? Okay. There's a couple ways you can go about this here. Now, my personal piece of advice to you would be to just ignore it. What I mean by that is this is kind of like a slick remark to see what you'll do. Like he's throwing out what we can call a feeler just to see how you'll respond to this. My advice, just ignore it. Just move on like it never happened. You can even just say LOL no with my PJs. And you can change the subject totally by sending him a picture of your PJs. Okay. The reason I say this is because it's a little bit harmless. It's not necessarily a super bad thing. And also take into account he did DJ you. So it's not like he's bringing sexy talk and chat out of nowhere. So just keep that in mind. But what I want to say is I don't want this to be something that discourages you from exploring the relationship, because I don't think that that's some sort of super red flag, right? The fact that he desires you and is, bringing something up pineapple-y related, but we want to make sure we keep the focus on where the focus should be. And all I want you to do in this scenario, if we're talking about your response, just redirect the energy, right? Make a joke out of it. I don't think it'll be that serious, and I don't think he's going to be pressing that much. It doesn't even seem like he's trying to make it super duper duper pineapple-y related. I think he just thought, it was a little bit of a good chance to maybe say something or give a little bit of a remark, right? Which is fine. If you redirect the conversation and he goes along with it, then that's fine, okay? Guys are guys at the end of the day. I'm not saying that they should disrespect you or anything like that, but like if he's attracted to you, yeah, he likes thinking about the idea of sleeping with you. That's not a crime, okay? That's perfectly fine. He desires you. Now, if you redirect the energy and he's okay with that, he's still respectful, cool, everything's cool, we all cool. Someone said, what's DJ? If you go to a club, the DJ is spinning those things, spinning those discs like this, right? Similar to this, at least. What else would you be doing this motion with? Now, let's answer the question what DJing means, all right? All right, so does that make sense to you? I hope that is clear to you, Vicky, okay? You can just respond, oh, no, sleeping in my PJs, send him a picture of your PJs, LOL, make a joke out of it. I'm sure he'll laugh, because by now it's the next day and the moment's over anyways. I don't think it'll be a very big deal, okay? Now, if in the future you notice that he's continuing to push and push and push for the pineapple talk and push and push and push for the pineapple activities, now we have to start getting a little bit weary, because that might mean that that's all he's caring about and thinking about and waiting to get to, in which case your strategy might change, and then I want you to send me a different message, all right? All right, let's hop into, oh, yeah, we just did chows. Let's hop into base. Bay, okay. Let's be honest. I'm a gold digger. Okay. I'm 22, talking to a 32-year-old for 3 months now. He met me as a dancer. What type of dance? And paid me $60,000 first month. Let's get up and stretch, chat. It's gonna be one of those. Okay, yeah, let's get up and stretch, chat. It's gonna be one of those. Let me tighten up the strings on my pants here. Make sure my pantalones are nice and tight, okay? Because I'm definitely gonna knock my socks off with this type of question here. Okay, babe. You funny girl. 60K first month. You said you got that Birkin. Never mind. You know how Cardi B say I got that Birkin, you know that Birkin, you know, right? How Cardi B said that, right? That's that double Birkin, right? You got the Birkin plus a Birkin. Okay, damn, okay. You different, all right. You must have been dance. What type of dance was you doing? Show it in the chat. Do a tutorial for the chat and send it in our general chat. What type of dancey was you doing on him that he paid you 60K first month? You was doing a dancey. Do the tutorial for the chat. They might be able to get them a 60K first month. That's a dancey you was doing. Okay, so he paid you 60K first month to not work at any club anymore. To pursue me in a relationship, or so I thought. It was nice first month meeting his friends and going to nice dinners and flown out to his city multiple times. You dating an NBA player? Tell me the truth. Don't lie to me. Which NBA player you dating? Which team? Last month, he ghosted me on multiple occasions because he had family issues going on, and his house is got broken into, which I can confirm at least that's true. You dating a rapper? I didn't see him once in December due to these circumstances. I still got 30K for the month, but I had much uncertainty due to lack of communication. He used to text me every day and now can go weeks without speaking to me. I'm also upset in the huge pay cut, even though we never discussed an exact amount, because I like the idea of the man initiating it and they're going to give me as much as they genuinely want to. Okay. I'm feeling, chat, what do you think? I'm feeling it's either got to be an NBA player or a rapper. Those seem to be the only guy. Well, even NFL, the amount of disposable income, they're not just 60K on a whim that's not NFL money unless it's a quarterback, which is unlikely. This is giving me NBA player or a rapper vibes to have that much disposable cash. That's on him to give away. Interesting. Someone said, or he's Arab. Maybe. Even still, that much disposable cash. He also said he wanted to see me after Christmas, looked at flights, saying he was going to give me a Christmas gift and allowance in person. Okay. He ghosted me the day of. I texted him for 3 days straight before he finally replied, apologizing for standing me up. Sorry, I'm trying to do some math here, just thinking about the possibilities. When I finally saw him in person, I gave him a Christmas gift, which I only bought because I didn't want to come empty-handed. And he kept asking me, why did I buy him a gift? Like I thought he was going to buy me one, that's why. That confused me a lot. Fast forward this month, I found he has a whole separate Finsta account dedicated to pineapple workers and foot fetish accounts. Okay. Now I'm certain he's speaking to other women and he's posted spending over $100,000 at clubs month. This gotta be a rapper. It's gotta be. I want to ask for my monthly allowance to be around 100K consistently, but I'm not sure how to ask without sounding masculine or B-wordy. It's got to be a rapper. Rappers are even NBA player. 100K at one club, your financial advisor as an NBA player will contact you. It's not even, it's very difficult to be that irresponsible with your money. 100K in one time at the club. It's got to be a rapper. It's got to be. At this point, I want the money and don't care for his loyalty. We were also supposed to meet last week and he ghosted me the same day again. I don't know how to address this situation because if it wasn't for the money, I would have been left. Anyways, how can I ask for more? Okay. I'm glad your title of your question is this because we don't have to say anything. All right. So Bay. Here's the thing. Whenever it comes to money, this is going to sound like really conniving advice. The worst thing you can do when you want money is talk about money. So if you want money, my advice to you, truthfully, as weird as it sounds, would be to get closer to his heart and his emotions and talk about things that are very emotional to him, because that'll actually put you in a different bracket than any of these other women that he's spending $100,000 on. Let me let you all in on the way that men work. If he's willing to spend $100,000 on women who he doesn't know and has never met for feet pics and pineapple workers, and he'll spend $100,000 on them, imagine how much he'll spend on you if you're a beautiful, attractive woman with pretty feet and a nice body that can dance, but also talks to him about all of his emotional traumas, and how much more connected to him you will be if you can have that up advantage on all those other girls who he doesn't actually know and don't actually talk to him. I know it's going to sound really conniving and really sneaky, but if you really want to extract money out of a guy, you get close and in touch with his emotions. Because then when you pull on his heartstrings, it's very difficult for him to let you go or forget about you. Because the high he will get from getting feet pics from you, from getting dances from you, from getting slurped off from you, whatever it is you're giving him for the money that he's giving you, will be so much more impactful and so much more of a rush when he actually feels like he has a connection with you. It's just how human beings work. So if you really want to get access to that wallet, focus on your connection with him. I'm not saying you have to reach out to him and try and start conversation with him out of nowhere. But if he does reach out to you, rather than thinking about how you're going to bring up money, bring up how has he been? Like, and genuinely ask him, like, how have you been? Like, how have you been feeling? What have you been going through? What's been stressing you out, right? Talk to him. Watch this. You talked to me earlier when you mentioned the fact that he was going through a situation with his family, right? His house got broken into, and also he's been having on multiple occasions family issues, right? And his house got broken into. You should have, the next time you have a conversation with him, forget the money, F the money, don't even bring up the money. Ask him, how did it make you feel to get your house broken into? Was that a scary occurrence for you? Were your kids home at the time? Was anyone you love or care about home at the time? How did you find out? Did you feel uncomfortable or violated sleeping in that house knowing it got broken into? Are you thinking about moving? What do you think is the reason? Do you think it was an inside job? How do you feel now? Is this something that you want to completely move a different cities? Is this something you've experienced as a child, right? Ask him about his family issues. Say, oh, what's been going on with you? Or have you been stressed out? Is it your mother? Is it your father? Why aren't you guys getting along? Why aren't you seeing eye to eye? Is there a way, has this happened before in your family and in your family relationships? Do you think it's due to money? Or is this due to something else? Is there some sort of disconnect? If so, what's the reason, right? These are the type of things you want to dig deeper and ask about and get him chatting about, because that's the last thing all the feet pick women and pineapple workers will be chatting about. Maybe some of the pineapple workers that are really smart, but most of them won't be chatting about this. Okay, and I promise you, when you can be the one chatting with him about this type of stuff, he'll be more inclined to, at the very least, say, I want to talk to her, even if that just means I get off my chest these things that I've been feeling and thinking. And I promise you, the more time this guy spends with you, feeling like I just want to get these things off my chest and talk to her, he's eventually indirectly going to end up paying for that time. Because as he wants to spend time with you and he wants you to be around, he inherently always associates, hey, if I want you to spend time with you and I want to be around you, I'm going to pay for it. Clearly, he has no problem with that. So all you should be looking for is how you can basically, it's going to sound weird, but how you can hook him and become like cocaine, where all he wants to do is talk to you and spend time with you 24/7, even if it's just to get stuff off of his chest. Indirectly, you'll end up getting money that way because he wants to spend a lot of time with you, and he can't spend time with anyone else because it doesn't hit the same. Okay, so you want to become crack in that way. Does that make sense to you? I hope it does. Right. Let's hop into our next question here. Okay, we'll do a couple of these here in the free section. Scroll down. Okay, so we did that one, right? Yep, we did that one. And we're here. Okay, so this one comes from LP Baby. LP Baby says, how to pick a bone before we bone. All right. Hi, Tommy. How can we naturally speed up the process of getting to know a man when he is angry in a very subtle, healthy, non-toxic way, of course? The simple answer to this question is you don't. I don't want you doing anything to try and stimulate him getting angry at you or creating some sort of conflict, just because that, to me, that's just overly toxic advice. And it will happen naturally in the course of a relationship. Whatever that timeline is, just allow it to happen naturally. That's my best advice to you for that, at least. You mentioned and suggested not sleeping with a man in the how men view sex episode, that we should wait around 2 arguments as an approximate guideline for knowing a man's true feelings and intentions. I completely see where you are coming from. You know your partner, or you know how your partner or anyone really feels about you when they are acting based on emotions such as anger. I read that anger is just a primary emotion that masks deeper emotions such as sadness, frustration, grief, etc. I do believe that. I can't find the exact reference though. I'll have to find it in a link. In addition to when a man, in this specific case, is angry, I am also aware that when a man is drunk, they tend to be more honest and candid. Fair, in some cases, most cases. I was wondering if there's any way we can position to see how they respond, or if we just let nature run its course and when the timing, with time and getting to know a man. Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to tell you to do anything nefarious, but you could theoretically, if you want to see what information you can extract, and don't say you got this from me. If you want to see what information you can extract from a man while drunk, you could go out with him to a club or a bar or whatever, knowing that he's going to get drunk. I'm not saying you force alcohol down his throat. He can get drunk on his own volition, but you make sure to not drink. And when you're offered alcohol, you can either pretend to drink it or just straight up not drink it at all and not get drunk at all and be sober. And then now that you have your wits about you, you can ask him questions while he's drunk and you're sober. So that's also an option there. I was wondering if there's there's way, right? What I'm trying to ask is, are there any tips to get a man a little flustered? Can I get him drunk with his own consent, of course? So I just answered that, right? Always asking for consent is the correct and right thing to do, right? Oh, exactly. Just to make it crystal clear. Listen, I'm not asking you to give me toxic advice, but I'm asking you to give me, calculated, read toxic advice that will benefit me, a woman, and the collective, to extract as much information from this man. I know I have to make him feel good without touching him. I don't want to touch him yet and get him comfortable, so I'd love to know your recommendations. How can I go about this? Recall, I attracted a guy on New Year's Eve, 2 months after my traumatic breakup that I've been actively healing from. I know, guys. That has a fiery personality, so I would like to gauge his temperament as I take it slow. I listened to your advice yesterday, okay? Okay, I don't have to F around, and I'm so blunt that I almost just want to ask him when I have the opportunity to get him socially drunk, questions such as, how's your relationship been with your mom? Since you've been at a frat, have you ever been complicit in any pineapple assault? Okay, wow, that's a deep one. Who'd you vote for? I'll be able to gauge his stance on women's reproductive rights. Have you ever hit a woman just playfully? Please advise and help me, because I feel like I could blow it if I remain being blunt and don't adjust my approach. Thanks for your patience. I found this good study on anger, basically, if anyone was interested about that. Okay, perfect. All right, so LP baby, my advice to you, yes, if you want to get some extra juicy information, do get him drunk. Now, here's the thing though, everyone has a different tolerance level. So don't think that just because he's drunk, he's going to turn into an idiot. So you still got to be a little bit slick with your questions and the way you ask questions. So what you can do is you want to give like some warm-ups. And the reason when I say warm-ups, what I mean is, like, as he's getting more drunk and you're asking him questions, you also want to gauge, because you know what he's like sober. You want to gauge how loosey is he with his responses. Do you feel like it's starting to soak into his bloodstream, right? He's getting there. Once you feel he's kind of getting there, now you can kind of, like you mentioned here, be playful in the way that you ask questions. And as long as you're playful in your energy, a lot of times drunk people will take it as nothing's wrong here. If you become too overly serious, now this is the big thing that I want to point to you. When a guy is drunk, especially if he's like well drunk, like he's proper drunk, not like piss drunk, but just like, it's in him. He's feeling it. the worst thing you can do is let your body language show that you're not approving of what's going on, because that can sober people up quickly. As long as you're very playful in your approach and you're very jovial and joking and smiling, when someone is drunk, it's hard for them to really determine the subcontext or implications of what you're saying or what you're trying to get at, because they're just not all there. Okay, as weird as it sounds. So as long as you can keep that jovial, smiling, good energy, high energy, I'm playing around, I'm having fun type of vibe, you can basically ask him anything that you want. And obviously you don't want to make it too obvious and too blunt, but you want to kind of beat around the bush and just make it seem like you're, oh, you know, I was thinking about this, or I saw this and I was just thinking, it just dawned on me. Who did you vote for, or whatever? I was watching this thing of whatever, Donald Trump or whatever, Kamala Harris, and I was thinking, who did you vote for? Because I was whatever, blah, 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 blah. And the thing about it is, when someone's drunk, they don't understand how you're asking leading questions, and they're not really as in control of knowing how you're steering the conversation. So as long as you can make it seem like you're flowing from one thought to a question, it'll be easy to kind of get him to answer things in succession that you're really curious about. And any of these things that you're curious about because they're important to you is perfectly fine. I'm not going to tell you what shouldn't be important to you or what should be, but these are all valid questions if these are things that you want to make sure that you're aligned on, that he doesn't lie about. Now, this one is the only one that I'll warn you. Be careful in the way that you ask it, just simply because how many people are going to come out and tell you, yeah, I was very complicit in a whole bunch of pineapple assaults. Like, who's really going to say that like that? You're better off asking this question in a way of understanding what transpired in his frat and saying something like this, okay? I'm the question master. You say something like, what's the craziest thing you've ever experienced or seen someone else do at your frat, right? And then let him go from there, and just keep asking follow-up questions from there, and let his mind go wherever it goes in describing all of the crazy stories he's seen at his frat. Keep in mind too, he'll be able to tell you some initially, and then if you keep asking follow-up questions, more will come to his mind, and just let that conversation flow where it does, and he'll, begin answering some of the crazy things he's seen or experienced or been a part of at the frat, in that frat community. Okay, so that's a good way to ask that question to extract the same information that you're looking for there. All right, let's hop into our next one. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that I did that one and marked it off. Yeah, so we did that one and marked it off. Yes. Now let's go into, we got to give someone else a chance to get their question answered, so I got to make sure I'm in the right order. Okay, Liv. We did Liv? We did Liv. Amy. We did Amy? No, we didn't do Amy. Okay, we doing Amy. All right, Amy. All right, wifey material, not really. Hi, Tomisin. I remember when your show was tranquil, lighthearted, and you were soft-spoken. Oh, no, we did this. We did this. Learned that initially launched in the Players Club. As he is up, reevaluate and construct my future. I took your advice journal. Yeah, we did this one. I remember doing this one about the wish list. Okay, let's go down here. I think you probably just duplicated your question. It's okay. Amy, Turkish Delight. Okay. I think I've seen that name before. No contact from him anymore. Hey, I'm 26 and I got to know a 22-year-old man since 2 weeks ago. He called me regularly, and we also went on a date already. The date was great, and I still am sure he wants to see me again. The next day, however, he had his family and a lot of relatives visiting because of the holidays, and was quite busy and only with them, which he also told me about beforehand. We still had contact and send each other messages throughout the day. But now, since 3 days, he is not contacting me anymore. I already contacted him first, and he is responding like everything is normal, but there is no initiative from him anymore since 3 days. I don't understand what's happening and what I should do now, since I was and still am sure that he liked me too and enjoyed our time. Okay, Turkish Delight. Gonna give it to you very simply. Your responsibility in a scenario like this is to do nothing, because it's his job to decide that if he really wants to be with you and to date you, he's going to reach out to you. He's going to let you know that he wants to go out on a date with you, and he's going to ask you out on a date. I know when I say do nothing, you're thinking, well, Thompson, that's not real advice, but you have to understand both of you are meant to play specific roles. And it's not your job to say, oh, he hasn't contacted me in 3 days, so I'm going to contact him to stimulate him talking to me. Or he hasn't asked me out on a date or taken initiative in a few days, so now I'm going to make it my job to take initiative and do his job for him. No. Because I guarantee you, Turkish Delight, the moment you start doing his job for him, he will become complacent in that, and he will allow you to continue doing his job on an ongoing basis to the point where you end up being the man and embodying all of the masculine qualities and progressing this relationship forward. Meanwhile, he ends up being the woman and just taking what he can get from you and extracting what he can get from you and receiving a lot from you while giving you nothing in return. So I know it's frustrating to be with the guy that's taking no initiative and is not talking to you anymore and is seeming to not be interested in you anymore. But it's very important to realize that as a truth, especially for you. You've only been dating him for 2 weeks, only been seeing him for 2 weeks, getting to know him for 2 weeks, really. And you've only been on one date so far. That doesn't necessarily mean he has the level of interest in you that he can sustain consistency with you over the course of a long period of time. I know it's a little bit disappointing to hear that, but not every man you go on a first date with will be capable of lasting a lifetime with you in a relationship. So you have to keep that in mind and really realize to yourself, oh, he just doesn't have the interest there required to really progress this forward. And if that's the case, you just move forward with your life instead of trying to then start chasing him, because I guarantee you nothing good comes out of you chasing a man. Okay. All right, chat. That is the show for today. For those of you who have a question for me, you can ask your question, whether it be in our free relationship advice section, our premium relationship advice forum, or our private relationship advice forum. All of those ways to ask a question are available through the link in my bio on TikTok or my description on YouTube. Okay. For those of you who are watching the show on TikTok and you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is just my name on the top left corner of the screen, Tomisin_Atob, Tomisin_Atob. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, it is down in my description at the bottom what my Instagram link is there. For those of you, let me answer one of these donations here in the chat. Small TV says, can we ask super chat questions? So this is what we were reading out was our Discord. So you go into the Discord by going into the link in the description on YouTube, click where it says Discord, that link that says Discord, and then you can ask your question that way. Make sure you post it in the free relationship advice section if it's just a normal free question. If you want a premium question, make sure you click where in my description it says premium Discord advice. You donate to the show first, and then you can drop your question into the premium section of our Discord there. Okay. For those of you who are watching the show on TikTok and you want to rewatch the show because you missed some parts or you came late, you just go over to my YouTube channel, which is my name, Tomisin. And then once you get into my YouTube page, go into the live section, and then you can ask your question there. You can rewatch the live show there, and you can rewatch the live show from start to finish, and you'll have the YouTube and the TikTok live chat embedded in the video, so you won't miss a second of conversation that we have on the show. Okay. For those of you who are wanting to find me when I'm going to be live again, I'm live tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I'm live every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. EST. So I'll be here again for all of you beautiful people at 4 p.m. EST. Got to figure out what time that is in your time zone. Until we meet again, I bid you adieu, au revoir, hasta la vista, sayonara, ciao, salam, adios, arrivederci, bounty. That's my language. Bon voyage. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, I love you so much. It won't be long before we're together again soon. Very, very